Hey, today on the Lesley and Lisa show, our guest is a metahuman.
Ooh, and I'm going to give you several reasons to stay away from melatonin.
Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Lesley and Lisa show.
Hey, welcome to the Lesley and Lisa show, the show where we talk about anything and everything because nothing is off limits. Did you hear me say at the top of the show that we have a metahuman on the show today?
I did. It's so exciting. And I think it'll make up for our lack of humanity.
Humanness?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I know if anybody's listening at the moment, I bet some people are like, what the hell is a metahuman?
Well, they'll
You
know.
will find out.
Exactly. Just be patient, people, is what we're saying.
How you feeling today, Lise?
Lesley, I had a night of the craziest freaking dreams.
I hate when that happens.
It was all night. It wasn't fun. There were people from my past that I didn't want to see. I was working at TGI Fridays, or I was not working at TGI Fridays was my first waitressing job. I was at TGI Fridays in the dream. Somebody stole my wallet. I was very panicky. Then I got the cash back, but I knew they had all my cards and my ID. Anyway, it was a very stressful night of sleep. And so I wake up and I'm making my coffee and I stupidly go, Alexa, what does it mean when you get your wallet stolen in a dream?
I mean, you might as well have just Googled it. Okay, go ahead.
She said, according to sources on the internet, when you get your wallet stolen in a dream, it means you have a very big health scare and it's going to be bad. She added, and it's going to be bad.
Did you reply with, well, fuck you?
I think
Alexa?
I did, actually. I actually think I did. So,
I mean, technically, and her response should have been, you asked, Lisa. I mean, technically, you should. Oh, Lisa.
Lesley.
Really? So, God, now, you know what? You know what? I'm so impressionable.
Yes.
Is that the right word?
Yes.
I think so. Now I'm going to go have a fucking dream about losing my wallet.
Probably not. But what the thing is, you shouldn't look up symptoms of stuff. I understand that, but I thought this was an innocent question.
I know, seemingly. But you know what? There's no innocent question for the internet, except for, I don't know. Why is my poop green?
But no, that's
by the way, that's not an innocent question. You're not going to get a good answer.
So, but then of course I did Google it. So I'm going to tell you, these are much less terrifying.
By the way, my poop isn't green. I just wanted you to know.
You just were using that as
an example. Then tomorrow morning it'll be green.
Very possibly. By the way, have you ever eaten like a ton of beets and then the next day your poop is red?
Of course. And I think everybody has had that experience where you're like, oh my God. Yeah. And then you have to go, all right, I ate beets.
Right. Oh, but by the way,
asparagus.
Huh?
Peas smell. Oh, I ate asparagus last night.
Right.
Oh my God, this is a little TMI right now, right?
We weren't supposed to talk about this, but
I remember we talk about anything and everything because nothing's off limits. Okay.
I wanted to say that I did take melatonin last night, which I do very rarely. I only do it when I need to like reset my sleep.
Okay, so I've only taken melatonin a couple of times. I feel like it does nothing. So you really do believe that it does something, and you think that that's the culprit for having weird dreams?
I think that I'm very stressed out and that is the culprit, but I think that the melatonin is like it's a little boost to your stress or whatever is going on with you subconsciously. I'm not the only one who has bad dreams when I take melatonin.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm going to ask a girlfriend of mine because I know she takes it often.
Oh, ask her.
I will.
But anyway, but Google says to dream that a wallet has been stolen indicates someone may be trying to take advantage of you. This is a sign that you should be on guard in your waking life, or you're losing touch with your true identity, or there might be an impending financial pitfall. Or maybe a pitfall of not earning a penny in 2020. Maybe that's.
I was just going to say, the pitfall is you didn't have a fucking job in 2020.
Exactly. So anyway, I will totally go with any of those other things. I'm good with losing my identity. I'm fine with somebody taking advantage of me.
No, I'm not good with any of that. But I know that you feel better, except you feel better than you have a health scare.
Yeah, and it's going to be bad.
Oh, right. God. Alexa, hello, note to self. Don't ask Alexa anything except for what is the weather?
Or play my next song. But I am.
God, she's talking in my bedroom.
Well, because you said her name.
I know. I literally was like, "What is that going on in the background?" And I hear her say, "I don't know what she said." Shut up, Alexa.
You have to say no. You have to say, Alexa, shut up. By the way, my mother, you know that Saturday Night Live sketch where all the senior citizens call her the wrong name? My mom still goes. So I asked Alexis. I'm like, Mom, it's not.
Literally, can I tell you something?
Yes.
That sketch on SNL is one of probably my top two. The other one being the most recent, the one with Kristen Wiig about Christmas.
Oh, that was brilliant.
The one that came out this past Christmas.
I got a robe.
And I got a robe.
Oh my God.
Okay. And it's on sale. Anyways,
so good.
Probably my two most favorite pre-tape sketches on SNL.
And my third, and then our guest is here, is the Macy's, the fake Macy's commercial where they're forcing their kids in sweaters. Yes. That's a very good one too.
I like that one, but doesn't hold anything to those other two.
Oh, God, it's so good. Okay.
The Alexa one is genius. Is she talking?
It's brilliant.
No, she's not talking.
Okay.
All right. Our guest. Go ahead.
Our guest. Listen, you have seen our guest on basically every show that's ever been on television, but she's currently starring as Cecile Horton in the WB's The Flash.
Hence why I said she was a metahuman.
She is a metahuman. And I think actually she's a metahuman in real life because I've never seen anybody's IMDb page that's longer.
It's true.
It's very impressive. Ladies and gentlemen, Danielle Nicolet. Hold on. Uh-oh, she just went away.
Fantastic.
Oh no, I let her in. That's what happened.
She is.
She's not there. She's disappeared.
Oh, she's in, but she just all right. Well, maybe she went to the restroom.
She might have.
I love that painting. That's interesting. Is that you think that's a toe being dipped into like a little wait, hold on, Dani. Is that a toe?
Did I come too early? Did I come too early, Danielle?
Said no woman in the history of ever.
That's the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi. We'll see you next time. Brilliant.
Hi, beautiful Dani. Do you like Danielle or Dani?
I go by Dani. My mom is the only person that calls me Danielle, and my husband when he's really mad at me.
Exactly, which is why when anybody calls me Lesley, I'm like, what did I do wrong?
I call you Lesley all the time. But most people call you Les.
Obviously, you know.
Obviously, she has issues with me.
Good point. First of all, that was a great entrance.
I loved it.
Hi. Sorry.
It was very reminiscent of Julie Bowen. Like she wasn't there, and then all of a sudden she was there.
All of a sudden she was, but you wanted to.
Go ahead. I was super timely, and then I was like, maybe I have one quick minute to just like cool this tea down a little bit with an ice cube so that I don't like burn myself while I'm chatting.
I have to tell you, our show is so casual, Dani, that you could have taken another few minutes. We would have filled it.
100%. We always had, and like I said to Lisa, one of my most favorite things about doing anything on Zoom is that we get to see people in their homes. And so I get to see you've got two beautiful pieces of artwork behind you. So it's always fun to.
Okay. Weird as this may be, it's so funny. Earlier, like an hour ago, I got back from walking the dog and I walked into my apartment and I thought to myself, oh my God, this place is a mess. I need to clean this up. I'm going to see Lesley and Lisa later. And I literally cleaned my apartment for you. And then while I was mopping the floor, I thought, what are you doing?
Who's seeing the floor? Exactly.
No one. Literally no one has seen me anywhere other than on this chair at the end of my dining room table in months and months. But I just want you to know that I vacuumed for you guys.
You know what? I am a clean freak. So I hope that maybe I somehow, secretively I don't know, made
Inspired
you clean your house. I inspired you through osmosis of some weird kind. Anyways.
And conversely for me, right before we started shooting, my husband was in here and I pointed out the layer of dust that is on our bureau. So we're all coming.
We're all good. Places. Well, you look
I'm here to inspire. Thank you. I don't feel that way. And it was very weird. I want you to know that I went to put on lipstick and then I realized that just feels weird now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Outside of like, you know, makeup for work, the two things that I want to leave this pandemic without are bras and lipstick. Over them both. I've moved on.
Gosh.
I love
I've moved on. I've decided the world doesn't need either.
So wait a minute. So you don't have a bra on, right?
No, I put one on for you. I did. I
didn't need to. Oh, I don't have one on either.
I cleaned the house and I put on a bra for you.
That's amazing. So crazy. I don't have a bra on either because I too am like, well, I mean, I was not really wearing bras before, but I was like, who needs a bra?
Well done. I'm serious. I want to walk away from this zombie apocalypse with a couple of life improvements. I want to lay off a lipstick. It just feels weird. I don't want to wear bras anymore. I have to wear them at work and it's really strange. And after about 3 hours, I feel like someone's strangling me from the inside out.
Right. I think all women really, the goal of the end of the day is to get your bra off. I really do believe that. I think this
is what we live for.
Exactly.
I will say though, I've transitioned, although I'm wearing a normal bra today, but I've transitioned to, you know, like racer back, like bras,
like sport bra thing with no underwire.
Exactly. Right. So that's my transition. I have
to. You're sporty.
I'm sporty.
Exactly. Hey, Dani, I was going to ask you if there was anything that you had discovered about yourself during this crazy pandemic, but I'm kind of guessing that you answered the question without me even asking.
She discovered a hatred for lipstick and bras.
Exactly. I have discovered that I was born in the wrong era. I should have been born earlier so that I could actually burn my bra and get credit for it.
We'll give you credit.
Yeah, thank you.
But what else?
Discovered, oh gosh. I will admit that I have become a significantly more tolerant and patient person. Like in no means am I implying that I was ever a Karen, but I definitely was the type of person that like, you know, if you brought food to me and it wasn't right, like I was the first one to be like, no, let me call this restaurant right now and let them know that they brought the wrong food and we're either going to need them to redeliver or give us some sort of credit. And now I'm just like, figure it out. I know I'm allergic to it. It doesn't matter. I'll just eat around the stuff I'm allergic to. Like I've become so much more tolerant of everyone and everything.
That's actually, that's a wonderful thing. And it's a good lesson. It's funny. My mom on Saturday night was picking up some dinner. She had my daughter for the night and she was picking up dinner at a restaurant. She was like, oh my God, there's so many people in line. And she was she's impatient naturally. And so I literally said to her, Mom, these restaurants are all running with like half their staff. And it's a Saturday night and it's still the night where everybody's ordering out. So you need to have a load of patience right now and give these people a break and an extra tip on top of it. You know,
that's my thing. I'm like, I've stopped honking while I drive, even though I am in Canada, which is very hard. Kilometers is much slower than miles.
Yes.
And I'm like, even, you know, when food delivery is wrong or like something has to get fixed, I make this huge to-do about like, it's not the delivery person's fault and we need to tip them extra. Because, you know, I know how hard everybody is trying to just get through and how fortunate I am to have a job and, you know, and a safe roof over my head. So it's made me a nicer person.
Regarding that, Dani, because I know that you started working in the industry in your 20s.
Teens.
Yeah. So did you ever have a real job? Were you ever a waitress or anything?
I
just said real job as if acting isn't a real job, but you know what I meant. I know
come on, it's not a real job. It's not a real job.
It's not a real job.
Real jobs don't come with bedrooms.
Right. Exactly.
Real jobs don't give you like a portable bedroom and a person who brings you coffee.
Very good point.
Yeah. I had a couple real jobs, not a lot. But got fired from all of them. I managed Gold's Gym in Hollywood.
Oh,
while there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got myself a lot of bad dates with inappropriate choices from there, but that's what you do when you're a teenager in Hollywood.
You have
You
to.
do. Okay, wait a minute. You grew up in Ohio. When did you move out to LA?
I was a teenager, so I was 14, I think 15 when I came out to LA.
Did you come out with, I'm assuming you came out with a parent or parents?
I did.
Okay.
I had a rather unusual upbringing, so I was on my own really young. My mom is very sweet, but like parenting's not her bag.
Wow.
So yeah, I was living on my own in Hollywood at like 16 and like working and
Seriously?
had an apartment and yeah, the whole shebang.
And did you come out to LA to be an actress?
Yes, 100%. That was all I ever wanted to do. That was my sole focus from my earliest memory in life. Yeah.
So you move out here in your mid-teens, you're on your own.
Impressive.
Siblings?
Yeah, well, I mean, I came out with my mother and my brother came up to LA with all of us together, but then I was on my own not too long after that, like a year after that.
So how were you getting yourself to auditions and stuff?
I was walking, I was riding the bus. I was trying to start whatever incredibly cheap car I had purchased for somewhere between $600 and $900. On any given day, those cars may or may not have started or gotten me to the audition, but probably didn't get me home. And I was just finding a way.
You know what? I'm very impressed. Your tenacity is off the charts, and that is why you've had an illustrious, extremely
nonstop.
You call it tenacity. I call it the sweet ignorance of youth.
No, well, okay. Partly, but tenacity, my love. So kudos.
So
did you start doing commercials?
I did. My very first job, I got my SAG card, was playing a cheerleader in a Hershey's commercial. And again, like I had a super unusual upbringing, like as cheerleader-y as I may look on the outside, I was raised by wolves, so I had no idea what the hell to do when I went in there. But I had some friend who taught me the world's easiest cheerleader cheer. And I went in that audition and I cheered my little butt off. And I was a gymnast growing up, so I could throw a couple of kicks in there pretty easy. And I got that job, and then I was off to the races.
By the way, we're just like in shock because Lisa at the top of the show was like, I might just ask her if she ever, what did you say?
Well, it was before we started shooting. I said, I kind of want to ask Dani if she was ever a gymnast because.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's so did
you kind of just pulled that out of your ass, Lisa?
I did, but it's because, look, you are a petite, like perfect specimen of a human. And I just assumed that with that perfection came some like unbelievable athletic prowess. And because of your petite stature, I assumed it was gymnastics.
Well, thank you for referring to it as prowess, because that might be the best word I've heard all day. That was my whole childhood. I was a competitive gymnast. Like that's what got me out to California and out of Ohio, which, as lovely a place as it is to grow up, is not generally a place people, aspire to meet their dreams at.
Right.
But yeah, I was a competitive gymnast, and but truthfully, like my mindset as a kid was just that was going to be my conduit. It was going to be my in to become an actor. And it was just, my family's very athletic, my dad's side of the family. And, I'm short, I'm muscular, and I'm really bendy. So like from a very young age, they figured out that was the thing I was good at. So I pursued it.
Well, but on top of
I want to be short, muscular, and bendy.
I know, me too. But that also
you can't have everything.
So much discipline, that particular sport. So I'm assuming that also helped you in your discipline for pursuing your career.
I think so. I think most of all, probably it's the thing that like kept me going when things didn't go my way. This industry is so judgmental and harsh. and no one hides it from you. You know, they just say, oh, I'm sorry, you're not pretty enough for this role. Or, oh, I'm sorry, you know, you're too old, you're too young, you're too fat, you're too short, whatever the thing is. And I think maybe, which is super hard as a young person to hear. As an adult, you just kind of go, fuck off. But I think as a kid, maybe spending my entire childhood being judged within 1/100th of a point on every single little thing maybe gave me a little bit of alligator skin to it. So I didn't quite, you know, I learned how to not take that type of thing super personally.
And you have to. If you don't have that wall up, you cannot continue. You can't pursue this career if you don't have a wall to just continuously take the hit and move forward. Because 85% of the time things do not go your way. You know. Yeah. I always I joked with Lisa that I wanted to write a table book about the day they went my way. That's all. I get it all the time. Right? Oh, she's so great, but we're going to go a different way.
Okay. I want to talk about The Flash for a few minutes because, well, first of all, I have 100 questions. And I know Lesley does too, but my first question is just about how it started for you, because I know you started just as a guest star.
Mm-hmm.
And well, so first of all, so I know that superheroes have this whole thing where like there's a backstory, there's characters from the comic books and all that. Was Cecile Horton somebody who was already in the Flash world?
Yes. So she was in the comics, and like other than obviously the Flash and Iris and Joe, pretty much all of the characters that are on our show and most of the universe shows that were in the comics, they tend to sort of introduce them based in some way on how they were introduced in the comics. But then like once you're on the show, they can kind of like take on their own path.
Right.
So Cecile Horton, my character, was comic fans would kill me that I don't actually know which editions it was, but so there's a very large storyline at a certain point in the history of the Flash where the Flash is accused of murder, and so which the Flash never has killed anyone in the history of the comics ever, so except for Reverse Flash. So Cecile Horton was the prosecutor who prosecuted the Flash in the series of comics that were the trials of Barry Allen. So my character was introduced on the show as the district attorney of Central City, theoretically, you know, in time over a couple of seasons when the show got to kind of approaching that storyline. By then I had evolved and I actually played Barry's defense attorney. But so that was who she was in the comics, and that was the basis of her character.
And but when they first brought you on, were they expecting you to have the longevity on the show that you have had? Because I know like you kind of came on, then had another show, then came back. So how did that work?
Well, it's, and I can't, you know, I can only speak to the extent that they shared it with me at the time. But initially, so true story, funny actor story, I was meant to be on Arrow. And it was one of those amazing actor situations where like they wrote the role for me, like she was named after me, this whole thing. And so all I basically had to do was show up to the audition and don't bump into the furniture. And of course I completely tanked it and didn't get the job. So
which is the most like the most perfect example of what we were just talking about.
It was terrible. It was terrible in every way.
Oh my God.
So I did not get Arrow, which ended up, as all things do, like working out exactly the way that it was supposed to. The character that I would have played on Arrow actually ended up not being a character that had longevity. You know, when you write a pilot, you think certain characters are going to go certain ways, and sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. So cut to the next year, same showrunners, same creators called me up and said, hey, listen, like we really would like you to be on one of our shows. And so we want to introduce you to the universe, so to speak, of the show. Do you want to come on, do a couple of episodes, tail end of season 1? And then, you know, we want to get you established. And this is where we see your character going. You know, we want her to be Joe's love interest. She's in the comics. Like eventually we're going to get to the trials of Barry Allen and all of that. So, you know, I was like, yeah, of course. I showed up and I did I might have done 3 episodes in season 1. I don't remember, but I think I had to be cut out of one of them. But I had done a pilot for my own show not long after that. And so by the time the beginning of season 2 of The Flash came around, I was off doing my own show. So they just kind of had to not explain my absence and just like let me disappear. And so my show went for 2 seasons. And then when it ended, I just was incredibly fortunate. And the producers called back after they saw that my show had ended and said like, hey, do you want to pick up where we left off?
I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that.
It doesn't. That's amazing.
So for season 3 and 4, I had some other project. I knew that the intention was for my character to be there full time. I had some other projects lined up that they were really gracious enough to let me do. I did like 10 episodes. I had like half of the episodes of season 3, like half of the episodes of season 4. And then by season 5, I was signed on full time, and I've been in Vancouver ever since.
So, okay. So by the way, have you been living through this pandemic in Vancouver the whole time?
No, I was home so we got shut down up here. It was March. It was Friday the 13th of March when our production got shut down. I went home straight away. And so I was home for, what would that have been, 7 months that we were all sitting in our houses, and then came back up here in August. And it took about a month of like false starts for us to finally find our way back into production.
Yeah.
And and so I've been here since, but I've not been allowed to leave since I got here in August, which is really challenging.
Yeah, it's so crazy. My ex-husband actually was up there directing. He left in July. Sorry, I have an itch. He left in July and didn't come home for 6 months to see our kids, just because, you know, once he was there, he couldn't leave.
You can't. I mean, technically I could leave. Yeah, but I'd have to quarantine for 2 weeks when I came back, and you know, you can't just take 2 weeks off work to quarantine.
So how often do you get to see your husband?
I didn't see him for 3 months, and then he was able to take 5 weeks off of work. So he came up the beginning of December, quarantined in the apartment for 2 weeks while I finished working, and then we were able to have another 3 weeks together after that. He went home on Friday. Yeah, and I don't know when I'm going to see him again.
That's hard. How long have you been married?
12 years, I think.
Oh, nice.
Could be 13. Neither one of us can really remember.
Do you love being on? Okay, so I said you're a metahuman. Okay, so when Lisa told me we were having you on the show, I had not watched The Flash. So of course I needed to do my homework. So I started with The Flash, and I'm like, okay, through the first episode, there's no Dani. Okay, so I keep.
Oh yeah. Oh geez.
I keep going. But at this point, my son, who's 10 and a half, is watching with me. And I want you to know that we didn't see you till like episode 19 or something of the first season. There you
go. I'm barely there.
No. We're through the whole thing. We are at this point now, we're towards the end of the 3rd season. So we still don't have a lot of you, but like, I'm
not even a metahuman yet.
No, you're not. But
I actually told Lesley that you were, and she's like, oh wait, she is? Oh crap, I didn't even know that.
But like, we're literally, and by the way, Tom Cavanaugh is a good friend of mine as well, though I haven't seen him in a long time. So I texted him and I was like, I just want you to know that my son and I are now watching The Flash. We are going to binge at this point, it's like 7 seasons. Yeah.
We're shooting season 7 right now.
Season 7.
So you've got 6 seasons on Netflix.
I kid you not, we watch at least 2 a day, if not if it's a Saturday.
Oh my gosh.
Episodes. My son is loving it. I'm totally in it too. I mean,
I'm sorry for all the spoilers for you guys. I won't tell you what happens in the upcoming stuff.
No, I can't.
I still have the piece of paper when the showrunner called me. It was on hiatus, I think, between season 3 and 4. And the showrunner called me up to say, to give me the hey, I want to give you the heads up of what the plan is for your character for next season, and see if you're okay with it. And you want to do this and really stick around because it's a big shift. And, I got nervous because the showrunner's calling oh God, okay, here we go. And so he starts telling me, he's like, so here's the thing, your character is going to get pregnant, and then she's going to develop powers, and she's going to do this, and then that's going to happen. And I was trying so hard to be, cool, which I am not. And I still have the piece of paper. There was a notebook on the dining room table and a Sharpie next to it. And the piece of paper where I wrote down, OMG, I'm getting powers. And I held it up to my husband on the other side of the room while I was jumping up and down.
Oh, that's so
silently.
Cool.
Because it's, it's just really neat to be on a show like this.
Because
and it was already.
Because that's some real acting. Like, that's really like, you're like, I have superpowers. I get to fight people. Like, that is nothing like your true self. So anyways.
Yeah. And I mean, look, I've been on a million TV shows, maybe not a million, but somewhere close. And I've played lots of characters and I've loved many of the characters that I've played. But there's been exactly one time, and there may only be one time in the history of my career where I can say, oh yeah, I have superpowers.
Yeah, you're
that's
cool.
Ridiculously
you get to be a badass.
Yeah. And you got to give birth on camera, which is not something a lot of people get to do.
Okay, let me tell you something.
We have a lot in common. I got to do that once too.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this same post meeting with that showrunner. So I do what all actors do in between seasons on the show. And I go over to the writer's room and I chat with everybody and just kind of, especially then, because when you're first, that was the point where we knew that I was going to join the show full time. And so, it's important that the writers have a sense of you and who you are and that you get to know them. I sat down in that writer's room and I said to them, I only have 2 requests of you, 2 things that I never want to do. One is, please don't ever make me say the line, let's party. It's trauma from my teenage acting years. And I concluded many years ago that there is no successful way to say the line, let's party, and have it work. Okay, so I never want to say it. And I said, number 2, I beg of you, please don't ever make me give birth on camera. This is my greatest fear as an actor. I do not want to do this. There is no way, this on the same level that you cannot say the line, let's party, and have it play. You cannot give birth on camera and have it look good or be cool in any way, shape, or form. I'm terrified of doing it. And it was 1,000,000% the writer's room troll on me that they made me give birth on camera.
And by the way,
I had to say the line, let's party in an episode.
You did? Oh, you did? Yes. Oh, I was going to say, if given one of those choices, which one would you have picked? But they made you do both?
They made me do, but they straight trolled me. And they were very entertained by it.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's amazing.
Are there a lot of pranks on your set? Listen, Tom Cavanaugh is a prankster. Well, he was on Ed. So.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's a big prankster.
Yeah. It's a really fun group of people. Everyone just we spend a lot of time together, a lot of time together. And so, everyone kind of knows each other's quirks. Everyone has a tremendous sense of humor, which is really unusual for a relatively large cast.
Sure.
But for as serious as the show is, every single person who works on it is hysterically funny. Like we could transition as a cast to a sitcom in a heartbeat.
I love it.
I imagine. And you guys have so many great guest characters that come on and stay on for quite some time. I have to say, my personal favorite, though I love Tommy and I love everybody, but I love Cisco. So Carlos, is his name Carlos?
Yeah.
There's something about that kid. And I think he's a kid, at least to me. He seems,
to us, he's a kid. He's
52.
He's a fully formed grown man.
Yeah, he's
but for us, he's still a kid.
There's something.
But,
I just adore
he's one of the
him.
great loves of my life. He's also hands down the most talented human out of all of us.
So I want you to know that. So because I follow Tom on Instagram and I've seen Tom post a few things of Tom and Carlos doing like. I don't know. I think I saw them play like trumpets or something. Like,
I don't think there's a single instrument that Los doesn't play. He can write musical scores. He can write classical music. He can sing like a beautiful bird. He can dance. He can act. He can write. You
see all of that. You can feel all of that, which is why I am drawn to his character.
And you made this sound. No,
I don't feel like I don't feel that way, but like I just like because I see him as he's so.
So that was more of like your mommy.
Yeah. It was
I feel like that sound was close to coming again.
It was a little bit. So briefly, you do not have to like go into great detail, but I am curious as to what your COVID protocols have been on set and how much that has changed things for you.
Well, I got COVID from work, so that didn't go well, but things are much better now.
And was that during a break, or did you guys have to shut down?
We ended up shutting down for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And it just so happened that they were able to contact trace it. Like, I know exactly who I got it from. I know how I got it. And it wasn't because the person who had it that I caught it from was necessarily being reckless. It's just, it was early on in us getting back to work. And I think different departments didn't understand the extent to which the protocols needed to be followed and didn't necessarily adhere to them as well as they needed to be. Things are taken much more seriously now, certainly. But yeah, it's like working on another, it's kind of like being on Earth 2, and you just go, okay, you're so happy that you can work. And
Earth 2, by the way, Lisa, there's on the Flash, they're in Earth, it's Earth 1, and then also Earth 2.
Right. Thank you.
You got to go through like a wormhole.
You're early on. There are many more Earths to come.
Yes.
I think we get to like 19 of them. There's a lot, but yeah, so it's just kind of, it's like normal, but it's not normal.
Right.
And it's super weird because we're a very close group that like on literally every single day I walk onto set and everyone who's working together, we all hug, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
It's morning. So it's good morning. You give a hug to all of your castmates. We give a hug to the director. We give a hug to our script supervisors who we adore, our first AD.
Family. You guys are
we're
family.
Yeah.
And so
that's not
no
happening.
Hugging, I have to admit, I haven't gained any weight so far this season because there's no grazing at Crafty.
Oh, right.
No, there's nothing. You have to, it's so, not that I know because I haven't worked.
Yeah.
But my ex-husband was telling me everything that was going on.
I haven't even thought of that. So do they put snacks in your room or?
So when it's an actual meal, breakfast I eat at home because you can't eat in the hair and makeup trailer anymore. So normally, you'd go to work, you'd sit and you'd have your hair done, you eat your breakfast. There's no more of that. So breakfast is kind of at home. It's there, but you would have to wait 2 hours or whatever to eat.
Right.
When it's lunch, the actors get a list of what is available from catering, and then you text it to the one AD that is allowed to touch the things that you touch. Oh. And that one AD goes and it's, put into go packages for you from catering. And then that's placed into a plastic bin that one AD is allowed to touch. And that plastic bin is placed at the steps of your trailer.
So you're not eating with your buddies. You're not commiserating about what happened. Like that's
so when you're
just me and Biggie.
When you're sitting on set with your fellow actors, are you distanced or, listen, when you're with your fellow actors, so are you acting 6 feet apart or are you guys all in it together? Are they making more effort to not, is there any sort of, is anybody kissing? Is anybody like, are they sort of?
Yeah, they're really making every effort to not write physical contact in a way that can't be done safely.
Right.
In terms of sitting on set, where your chairs are and stuff, all of our chairs are separated. We can still talk to one another, but whispering obviously is not. And we have our masks on whenever we're not immediately on set shooting the scene. We run lines with our masks on. They only come off for shooting. And then the second they call cut, someone comes in, our masks are kept separately in their own little kind of plastic bin. Someone comes in, we get our mask out, we put it back on.
It's so crazy.
It's for most people who don't know what it's like to be on a set. There's so many people and so much that goes on. It takes a lot of people to make a television show. And so many components. And I can't even imagine how much more time is spent on set just because of can you shoot 7 pages in a day like you used to?
I have to tell you, it's turned out to be quite the opposite. Like the shooting day has to be shorter because the different departments need to be able to do their jobs without encountering one another, right? Because everyone's broken up into zones.
Right.
And, the actors are the red zone. And so there are very few people, hair and makeup and costumes are the only people who are also in the red zone because they have to touch us or touch things that we touch.
Right.
And then there are a couple of crew departments like set decorating, props, one representative from each because they have to be able to hand the actor a thing, right? So then there's yellow zone, people who are on set, but they're not allowed to encounter the actors anymore, and so on. So the day itself, the shooting day, had to be shortened by a couple of hours.
Wow.
So basically, I don't know how other shows are doing. Like I said, we're very much, team effort, everything. And we all love each other a lot. We all really love our showrunner a lot and our producers. So it's like, we all know that we're lucky to be working and we do whatever we need to do. And if that means, like the days of kind of coming to set without knowing your lines and, you'll kind of learn them when you get there, those days are over. Because we don't have a million takes to burn on not knowing stuff anymore.
And by the way,
fascinating.
How many pages did you pre-COVID? How many pages would you shoot a day, roughly?
On a non-action day, 7 to 10.
Yeah. And can
on an actiony day, 4 to 7.
Yeah. And can you still do that with the way things are?
Yes. That said, like I said, we make every effort to go more quickly and to be infinitely more prepared than we used to be. And the writers are really conscious of the show. Our showrunner is great about, I think because he also directs, so he's got a really solid understanding of like what the stunts take to pull off and things like that. So they're really conscious about writing things in ways that don't take away from the quality of the show, but make it achievable in the current circumstances.
So, and I would know because I haven't been working for over a year. Do you feel like once we're all vaccinated, once this pandemic, by 2022, do you
so far?
It is.
But I kind of feel like it'll be 2022 before we can all sort of default back to what feels normal. You feel like, I do feel like certain things that we have learned throughout this will continue forward. I don't think everybody will just default back to what was normal. I think things going forward will be a little different. Do you feel like being on set will remain always a little bit different, or it'll go back to being normal?
I don't know. There are a few things that I hope will stay the way that they are now. And this is just like super inside baseball actory stuff, but that experience on set in between cut and relighting or whatever the thing is, that crush of people that, it's like two warring armies that, on a Roman battlefield, the crew and the cast and everybody coming up and smashing into each other and having to be really careful because a light might fall on you and you can't get out of set and all of that. None of that happens anymore. Like the amount of synergy that the different departments seem to work in now, I hope that stays.
Wow.
I hope that, and I hope very much going forward that our industry as a whole starts appreciating that human beings get sick.
Yeah.
And caring about it, like caring about the fact that people have children and loved ones, and that it is important that you make your day and don't be crazy and let people go home so they can eat dinner with their children, and that it will be okay for cast and crew to wake up with, I've gone to work with food poisoning. I've gone to work with bronchitis. I've gone to work with pneumonia.
Because nothing stops.
I was
insane.
17 years old when a director explained to me that there was no such thing as me not feeling good. And I have not felt good at work since. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I genuinely hope that aspect of things.
That's huge.
Because there's so much more love and compassion when it comes to that. Now, granted, it's a little bit out of terror because God forbid you don't feel good, you might have COVID and then, you know, you could get someone else sick.
But it's a wonderful perspective to live inside. Like,
yeah. And
realizing that everybody, how important everybody is.
Yeah. And like even the writers who are writing from home now and getting to see their families, who sometimes stay at work till 2 a.m. and don't see their families the whole week.
I think that, by the way, I think it's a metaphor for everything. Like, I hope for all of us that we're able to like take the perspective that this time has given all of us and sort of apply it to everything. Because I do believe that at some point everybody's going to flip a switch and like sort of default and kind of go back and get complacent and forget what we had just gone through, because that's normal human nature. But you know, I do wish that for all of us.
All right, Les, we've been talking to Dani for an hour, so I'm going to let her go. But can I ask one final question?
Of course.
Third Rock from the Sun. You played a student. You got to work with these amazing comedy actors, but most significant for me, I'm so like in love with John Lithgow, and he played your professor.
He did. Yeah.
Well, do you have any great stories about him or any fun anecdotes or just what it was like to work with him?
So to be perfectly honest, Third Rock was not one of the happier experiences of my life.
Oh, interesting.
That said, John specifically and Jane Curtin made it. First of all, they're the only reason I got up in the morning to go there. Aww. He is such an incredibly giving. As now that I am a grown up and older, and I sometimes find myself in a circumstance where I am the more experienced older actor on a set.
Yes.
I find myself always thinking, how would John have been in this moment and in this circumstance? Be that gracious, be that loving, be that caring, take that kid, make sure that they're okay, make sure that this is a positive experience for them, and make sure that they come away from working with you as a better person, actor experience. John taught me how to be on time. He taught me how to be prepared. He taught me how to be gracious. He taught me that the lead of the show is the one who determines what everyone's experience is. Because if you come in cranky and complaining and difficult and challenged and, you know, making everything about your mood, then everyone's experience is that way. And it takes a really egoless human to come to understand that on their own. You know, he came into the show because I was on what people saw as Third Rock from the Sun. Lisa, you know this. What they saw as Third Rock from the Sun, for those of us, most of us that were on it, it started out as a pilot on a totally different network. Like that pilot happened 3 times over nearly 2 years. I was 17 years old when I booked that job. Wow. I was 19 by the time it ended up on TV.
Wow.
And from the moment I went to the first table read, I was so intimidated by John, and he made me feel so incredibly welcome and fortunate. And I will never be able to repay him all of the gifts that he has given me.
I'm just assuming by how you describe him, which just like warmed every ounce of my heart and soul, but I'm assuming that this is going to sound so corny, but that you are thanking him by passing that on, because that is truly such a beautiful legacy of his. I mean, that was so important.
And for me to get to receive that as such a young actor, and I didn't go to college. I went to college on TV. I didn't go to college for real. I was working, and I really got from him like the actor's equivalent of college experience in learning all of those things. Everything from like don't be a dope and actually perform at table read, to, you know, to be prepared and just be fucking nice. Sorry.
Which is huge.
Like,
just
be nice.
I remember some of my first, I remember one job in particular. It was a sitcom, a very popular sitcom, and I was just a guest actor. And it would be like cut, and nobody talked to me. I was 22. I was
You're a
22.
kid.
Nobody talked to me. There was one character that talked to me, and it was because we had the same agent. He was one of the regulars. And so I immediately like sort of tried to ingratiate myself just to be like, hey, Rick is my whatever. But nobody else talked to me. No, it was horrible. I hated it. There were some of the writers and the showrunners that were lovely, but the actors didn't talk to me.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember just feeling so bad and so insecure, and remembering to myself that if I was ever a regular on a show, I would never not talk to the guest actors on the show, because I know what that felt like.
Right.
Well, and also, let's be honest, like that is such a painful and unfortunate choice for any actor to make, because in all honesty, what different, there's no difference between any of the three of us, any series regular and any guest star. There is zero difference. You know what the difference is? You maybe haven't shown up at the audition yet that puts you in this position.
Sure,
and when this show is over, or even while the show is on, I still am going to go be in that position as well. There is absolutely no difference. So if you feel this need as an actor to assert some sort of position over someone else and make them feel insecure, like, I do not envy you.
No, that's
how you're gonna feel.
Sad place. Agreed.
Like, I have to say, it's why I always hated and still sort of don't love guest starring on shows, because I just don't like that feeling of, even at 52, I can still feel that feeling of being the new kid in school.
Yeah, you always say it's like
I still feel it too.
Yeah.
I still, and it's not because I'm, not accomplished in some way, or I think that I'm not a good actor or anything like that. But every job I've ever gotten in my life, I have that feeling when I first get there. And it's because of negative experiences that I had, like the one that you just described when I was really young, and I didn't have enough kind of experience behind me to be in charge of my own self-esteem at work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I get first day of school butterflies, and and then my inner voice that tells me they hate me and I'm going to get fired every single time.
It's why I bring crossword puzzles and books to every set now, so that I can feel somewhat like I'm okay. I have things that I love around me, and I can do this in between if I don't connect with people on set or whatever. But it's like, you have to create for yourself a space, whether it's just internal or external. And I'm sure bringing your dog to set is helpful. Are we frozen?
For a minute, you
froze. Oh no, you're back. You're back.
You're back.
We have to go. That's why
I actually, hang on. Can I ask one question though? I have to ask this. I've been dying to ask this for weeks. Okay. Can we just talk Curb Your Enthusiasm really quick? Because in the land of being intimidated when you show up on set, I would have lost my shit. I
have said this to Lisa.
How everything. Okay.
So,
how everything.
I've asked Lisa. I've said to her, that's one show that if I think I got an audition, I would be like, oh no, I can't. I would I would shit myself.
It's so funny. And I will make this brief because this is about you. But for me, it's everything that works for me and that I love, and that I love doing improv. I love kind of that working without a net. I love not having to learn lines. But on top of all of that, when I did my first episode 10 years ago, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because I had to make a very quick decision about confidence and knowing that, because you're relying on yourself to come up with these lines and they need to be funny. So I learned that if you're not perfect, you have two choices. You can slink away and then ruin the rest of what you have to do. Or you can go, well, that fucking sucked. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it better. And then assert that. And so for me, it was a huge lesson and continues to be, because I love it. I love it.
Every time my poor husband, he's like, I know. Every time you're on an episode, I'm like, oh, that's my friend. I know her. And he's like, I know. I've been with you forever.
That's amazing.
But every time I see you on it, I get so excited. And then I have this chat with myself going, could I do it?
Yes.
Could I do it? Would I pee my pants? Would I freak out? Would I go for something that didn't land and then excuse myself to my trailer to never return?
Because by the way, I've had Larry say to me, you know that thing, don't say that again, which you could literally go, oh, it's over. But yeah, I just went, and thank God, I just went, he wants me to be funny. He's rooting for me to do well on his show. He didn't like what I just did. I get to start over. So if you go into that show with that attitude, you're golden. If you go in with, I need Larry's approval or I need everything to land, then it's ruined for you.
Oh my God, that's like a life lesson. That's massive. That's a massive life lesson,
right?
In the form of Larry David.
Yes, in the form, who is really, honestly, should be all of our gurus, because somehow he continues to rule the industry in his mid-70s and be the coolest dude on the planet.
And Lisa's always like, you have no idea how sexy he is.
He's so sexy, Dani.
Just,
really?
Yeah. You know
why? I think I believe you.
There's
confidence.
It's confidence. It's his sense of humor, and his confidence, it goes beyond just being confident. He's fucking cool. He's literally cool. Like, he's just like, you want to wear his sneakers and eat the way he eats. Like, I can't explain it to you. He's just like, he's the popular kid in school without even trying.
I totally get it. I completely see it. And yeah.
I love it.
Little bit of a crush.
We cannot thank you enough for being here. You are such.
I'm so happy to do it.
Thank you so much, Dani. And
it's a lovely time having you. Thank you. And you're so beautiful.
Oh my God. Thank you. You guys are. And I'm looking at you guys and I'm feeling very much like I should have done a much better job with my hair and also my clothing choices.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say this took 2 hours and I can't even come close to whatever the hell you're doing naturally. So F you and thanks for being on the show. And now leave.
Thank you.
So this is the part where you have to let yourself out.
We love this. We have to ask people to leave.
Yeah, we're asking you to leave, Dani. Get out.
Bye, beautiful Dani.
We love you.
Love you.
Oh my God. Okay. We have to go.
So lovely. We have to go. Love you. Let's plug our show.
Truly that she
really is.
Just want to pick her up and
kiss her. Plug our show.
Plug our show.
Plug it.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be a part of our community. Join us by liking and subscribing and signing up for notifications. We need you so we can keep doing this. And come to the Facebook page, the Lesley and Lisa Show After Party, because we tell secrets and stuff. So come be a part of that. Anything else, Les?
No, I got nothing else.
All right. Love you, Les. See you next time.
See you next time.